Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. Okay, two quick stories. I wanted to talk about the French elections for a minute here too, until the break at the end of at the bottom of the hour, and then I'll pick up your calls right after the bottom of the hour. Two quotes from yesterday from the French election. The winners, as you probably have heard by now, the two winners of the French election. Neither one of them were representatives of the two major parties. So it's almost like as if, Donald Trump had run as an independent and Bernie Sanders had run as an independent, and the two of them won the primary, except that Macron is not the Bernie Sanders candidate. That's a guy named Macron, as I recall. Actually, a better analogy would be it's as if Donald Trump ran as an independent candidate and Barack Obama ran for another term as an independent candidate. But even that's these are very imperfect metaphors. But the point is that the guy who won, Macron, is in favor of remaining part of Europe, in favor of continuing to use the euro instead of going back to the French franc, in favor of maintaining the Schengen Agreement, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, which among the European countries, which says that the borders are open to people as well as to goods and materials. Right? Our deal, for example, with NAFTA says that Canada and Mexico can ship money or goods across our borders without any interruption or interference. Right? I just check to make sure that there's nothing illegal in there, and off you go. And no duties, no taxes, no nothing. Just, it's all one giant trading block. But people cannot cross the Mexican and Canadian borders on an unlimited, unrestricted basis, and they cannot work in those three countries without getting work permits or being citizens. Now, just imagine if NAFTA had said anybody in Mexico or Canada can live, and the United States can live anywhere they want and work anywhere they want. Now, maybe that would be a really cool thing. I don't know. My guess is, though, that whether it was a cool thing or not, the majority of Americans, the United States Americans, would strongly object to it. And that strong objection is the core basis, in my opinion, of Marine Le Pen's appeal. Because while Macron is saying, keep the borders open, she's saying close the borders. So let me just read you these two quotes. And the rationale for Macron, who is promoting what we refer to as European neoliberalism, and probably will continue the austerity programs of Hollande. And this is so ironic. The current socialist president ran on a platform of ending austerity in France, and then he started imposing austerity. And it's why his popularity ratings are like below 10% right now. He's just, he didn't even bother running. And so, but Macron's point of view, his worldview is, we had Europeans killing Europeans twice in the 20th century, World War I and World War II, and both times it was because nation states came into conflict with nation states. So the solution to the problem is do away, in large part, with the nation state. Turn all of Europe into one giant state. Just like arguably in the United States, there used to be conflicts between, Massachusetts and Rhode Island or something like that. Well, form it all into the United States and you do away with the interstate conflict. And that was the theory behind the European Union and the Eurozone. So here's what Macron says, because the whole goal of this was to never again have another war in Europe where Europeans are killing each other. Macron said nationalism, he's talking about Le Pen, means war. I come from a part of France with too many cemeteries. Now, here's what Le Pen said. What is at stake is nothing less than savage globalization that threatens our civilization. The French have a very simple choice, she said. Either we continue on the road of total deregulation without borders and without protection, with the consequence of job losses abroad, unfair global competition, mass immigration, and the free movement of terrorists. It's the choice of money as king. Now, Macron used to be a banker. This is, and he's representing the neoliberal interests. This is all the business interests. They love this, open market stuff. It's a choice of money as king. Or you can choose France, with borders that protect our jobs and our purchasing power. Now, conventional wisdom is, oh, isn't that sweet? You know, Marie Le Pen, she's saying this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff Donald Trump was saying. You know, it's only a small percentage of the people are ever going to find that an appealing message. Put up the borders again. I say nonsense. And I say this transcends left and right. In fact, Macron, as I recall, was the name of the guy who was kind of the French Bernie Sanders. He came in just 2 points behind Macron, maybe 3 points, and he was saying, you know, let's undo at least part of the Schengen agreement. Let's talk about re-bordering, you know, putting borders around France again, and let's talk about you know France first. I'm telling you, I wrote a book about this back in 2010 called Rebooting the American Dream that Bernie Sanders wrote a long letter about and sent, and we hand-delivered to 99 other senators, saying essentially the same thing. There's a whole chapter in there about, immigration, and a whole chapter about free trade. These are not partisan positions. And I'm of the opinion that this whole neoliberal New World Order that was tried as a consequence of World War II, or at least that was the rationale, to bring the world together, is disintegrating. And I think Marine Le Pen has a much better chance.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Everybody's discounting her. They're saying she's going to be a fringe candidate, just like they said about Donald Trump. I think there's even a chance she could win the election. Because of her other policies, scares me.